crazy, crazy and crazy. Listeners fed up with new Meghan podcast, calling to boycott it. Calling someone crazy or hysterical completely dismisses their experience, says Meghan Markle in her strangely throaty professional podcast voice. It minimizes what they're feeling. And you know it doesn't stop there. It keeps going to the point where anyone who has been labeled it enough times can be gaslit into thinking that they're actually unwell. Or sometimes worse, to the point where real issues of all kinds get ignored. Well, that's not happening today. Cue the intro music. I am woman, I am fearless, I am sexy, etc. to the latest episode of Archetypes, the Duchess of Sussex's Spotify series. I feel pretty strongly about this word crazy, says Meghan. She does. As usual, there are about 9 minutes of over-edited blather and loosely connected etymological observations. The word hysteria comes from the Greek word womb, didn't you know? Before Meghan starts a conversation with one of her guests. First up is the actress Constance Wu, who is famous for playing the lead in Crazy Rich Asians, although the use of the word crazy in that context isn't discussed, which is odd. Meghan talks briefly about having been an actress, too, her past life, she says twice, in a slightly, manic way. Wu has a memoir out, Making a Scene. We are taught that ladies don't make scenes. She starts crying as she talks about being sexually abused and trying to end her life. Listeners by now understand why. At the beginning of the show, Meghan said that they should tune out if the content gets too heavy. Wu berates herself for crying. Why do I still cry about this? She says. Because this is part of your healing process. Interjects Meghan, the wise hen. If you weren't crying, I would be worried. She pivots effortlessly back to herself. I would love to cry this much. But I'm conditioned to still have a different kind of composure. I want to feel so deeply it's like an Adele album, she adds. Which is an archetypal archetypes remark. Wu is gently dispatched and the conversation moves on to the huge, real problem of medical gaslighting. Meghan brings on an expert, someone who I have tremendous respect for, Dr. Nadine Burke-Harris, the former Surgeon General of California. Meghan reveals that Nadine, a friend, once sent her a Christmas present of essential oil from her home which came in a mesh paper bedding. In the card, she said, I just want you to know that to make that mesh and that bedding for the gift I shredded tabloids because that's all they're good for. Nothing crazy about that. Nadine then explains that women aren't taken seriously when they report medical symptoms and, worse, they then internalize the societal mistrust of women's emotions. This, says Nadine, leads us to mistrust our own voices. Trust is a big theme of the episode. It's perhaps facile to point out that the Crazy Archetypes episode is crazy. But it is. Barking mad, in parts. Meghan's self-absorption is dizzying. The subtext of every female story ends up actually being Meghan's own struggles. You just have to listen. Or not, if the subject gets too heavy for you. Meghan Markle is a social climber and B-list actress, according to an American journalist. Former Fox and NBC host Megyn Kelly also suggested the Duchess of Sussex is obsessed about image. Kelly made the comments while speaking with royal author Tom Bower for her podcast The Megyn Kelly Show. In the official synopsis for his book Revenge, Meghan, Harry, and the War Between the Windsors, Bower writes that Meghan fought hard for stardom, a fight which culminated with Meghan's ultimate fairy tale ending, their 2018 wedding at Windsor Castle. Less than 2 years after their wedding, Meghan and Prince Harry announced they would be stepping back from their roles as working royals. They then jetted off for a new life in California, US. Discussing the Sussexes in her latest podcast episode, Kelly ranted, she's a Hollywood B-list, to be charitable, actress. She was a social climber. Her whole thing is about image, so I can see why she's so easy to upset when it comes to bad press. So easy to upset